Welcome back to Pokemon Episode Summaries. Today, I'll be doing episode 191, Freeze Frame. The episode begins with Ash and the gang finally arriving on the mountain where Articuno was spotted, being Snowtop Mountain. Ash had sent his Noctowl out to go search the skies in order to find Articuno, but unfortunately, Noctowl had come back to inform Ash and the gang that they hadn't been able to locate it. This led Ash to doubt if Articuno really was on this mountain after all, but Todd still insisted that it was. Just then, Brock's Golbat, which had also been sent out to go look for Articuno, returned, and proceeded to inform Ash and the gang that it had spotted something, although it wasn't an Articuno, as it led them towards Jigglypuff, who was frozen. Yes, that's right, the normal Jigglypuff in all those episodes, who always did its singing. Not only was it frozen, but its microphone was frozen as well. Brock then stated how they hadn't seen Jigglypuff in a very long time, and questioned what it was doing up in the mountain. Has it really been that long, though? Only like 20 episodes, I think. But anyways, Todd then theorized that Articuno may have been the one to freeze Jigglypuff, since he didn't see any potential Pokemon other than Articuno that could have been the culprit. Regardless of what did freeze it, Ash knew that he had to at least try and save the Jigglypuff, so he sent out his Cyndaquil and had to use Flamethrower to melt the ice around it, freeing Jigglypuff, causing Pikachu to back up as he had went over to Jigglypuff to greet it while it was still frozen, and now Jigglypuff jumped out free. Jigglypuff was already angry due to being frozen, so when Todd proceeded to grab it and demand to know where Articuno was, still thinking that Articuno was responsible for freezing it, Jigglypuff simply ignored Todd and slapped him in the face, not answering his question. This led Misty to try a better approach for Jigglypuff, knowing that it liked kindness, so she politely asks Jigglypuff where Articuno went off to, and if it knew its location. Because of Misty's kindness, Jigglypuff happily tells them that Articuno was at the top of the mountain, as it points there. Meanwhile, Team Rocket was also on Snowtop Mountain, climbing up the side of it using a rope and 2 pickaxes. Meowth was complaining that he was cold and wanted to go to a nearby Pokemon Center to warm up, but Jessie and James reminded him that this whole plan of climbing up the mountain to get ahead of Ash and the gang so they could make a trap before they arrived was his idea. Just then, Team Rocket's climbing is interrupted as a Spearow suddenly shows up and steals one of Jessie's pickaxes, which already made Team Rocket very unstable as they were about to fall off the mountain. So, when an entire flock of Spearow then showed up and managed to steal the last pickaxe, keeping them on the mountain by using Peck on it, this caused Team Rocket to fall down the side of the mountain. Meanwhile, as Ash and the gang continued up the mountain, now with Jigglypuff as well, Todd then spotted a baby Stantler and its mother and proceeded to take a picture of them, coming up with an idea to duplicate the photo many times and make a whole bunch of Christmas cards out of them, since the Stantler were essentially reindeer Pokemon, and reindeer matched with the theme of Christmas. Just then, Pikachu spotted a nearby Pokemon Center and led Ash and the gang towards it, wanting to go inside to warm up, with Brock suggesting that he could drink warm hot chocolate with a warm Nurse Joy, but not wanting to be called out for being a simp, he changes warm Nurse Joy to a warm fire. Ash and the gang simply ignore Brock as they walk up to the Pokemon Center and see a sign that says it's the Snowtop Peak Pokemon Center, and it was the highest Pokemon Center in all of Johto. Meaning highest up, of course. Upon learning this, Todd gets excited and decides that he wants to take a picture of Ash and the gang by the sign so that he can prove that he was at the highest center in all of Johto. So that's what he does. As Ash and the gang are posing for the picture, though, Officer Jenny then shows up in her snowmobile as she was patrolling the mountain, and instructs Ash and the gang to go inside the center as it was getting pretty cold, and she didn't want them to freeze. So Ash and the gang oblige. As Ash and the gang warm up, Todd begins to worry about if he would actually be able to successfully take a picture of Articuno, even if they found it, noting that it had escaped him multiple times at this point. Ash then comes up with an idea, and states that he was a genius, being really proud of this idea, being to have Jigglypuff put the Articuno to sleep as soon as they found it, so that the Articuno couldn't escape, and Todd could take all the pictures he wanted. Both Todd and Misty quickly declined Ash's idea, though, stating that Jigglypuff's singing would also make Todd fall asleep as well, meaning he couldn't take a picture. Todd then adds that even if he somehow didn't fall asleep when Jigglypuff sang, he didn't want to take a picture of Articuno asleep. He wanted to take a picture of Articuno awake, so he could capture its true awesomeness. Also stating that he liked to capture natural shots, as opposed to trying to mess with them in any way. Misty then reminds everyone not to get ahead of themselves, as they still had to find Articuno first, before they even thought about taking the picture. And once Nurse Joy heard that Ash and the gang were looking for Articuno's location, she came up with Officer Jenny, and the two of them confirmed, due to being on the mountain for so long, that they had seen Articuno at the top of the mountain before, adding that multiple others had as well, as they then show Ash and the gang an Articuno statue inside the Pokemon Center, stating that it was 1,200 years old. As Ash and the gang admire the statue, Jenny and Joy inform Ash and the gang about numerous legends throughout the years that depicted Articuno having nests among the highest and coldest places in the world, especially the highest mountains. Articuno would then frequently fly between all of these different nesting spots and bring cold weather with it wherever it went, stating that that was why Snowtop Mountain was cold, since it was believed that Articuno had a nest at the very top. Ash then questioned how if Articuno liked high and cold places so much, why weren't there a whole bunch of Articuno at the top of Snowtop Mountain? Leading the Nurse Joy to reveal that since Articuno was a legendary Pokemon, there wasn't many Articuno in existence in the first place, but she did clarify that there did used to be a few Articuno who would come by the area, although once one of them made their nest there, the others decided to not come back. Todd then questions who built this Articuno statue in the first place, leading Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny to reveal that they had a diary written by the 3 people who built the statue. all those years ago, explaining that the three people built the statue because they were extremely grateful to Articuno after it rescued them. When Todd hears about the diary, he theorizes that maybe the reason why Articuno was at the top of the mountain now was because it wanted to save some people again. Meanwhile, as for Team Rocket, when they had been knocked off the mountain by the Spearow, they actually landed on a small ledge of ice attached to the mountain, so they didn't fall all the way down. However, since they didn't have their pickaxes anymore, there was no way to climb up, and no way to climb fully down either. Team Rocket were cold and bitchy, especially Meowth, so he tried to calm himself by dreaming of him sleeping on a nice warm coffee table, becoming so invested in the dream that he actually manages to fall asleep for real. Jesse and James scream at Meowth, trying to wake him up so he didn't freeze to death, but Meowth was still sound asleep. James then decides that maybe Meowth was right, as even though he could die while he was asleep, falling asleep would pass the time. However, Jesse slaps James to make sure he wouldn't follow in Meowth's footsteps. An already aggravated Jessie decides to scream for help. Unfortunately, all she hears back is her own echo, which just pisses her off even more. James tries to calm Jessie down by stating that at least their situation couldn't get worse. However, James ended up just jinxing the both of them, as then it starts snowing and a cold wind blows, turning the snow into a huge blizzard. This blizzard causes Meowth to wake up, and he's instantly confused, as he wasn't aware that he had accidentally fallen asleep. As the blizzard gets worse, Team Rocket hug each other, trying to huddle together for warmth, but they thought that they had truly met their match. They were gonna fucking die. However, in a Deus Ex Machina moment, Articuno then shows up and picks them up, saving them from the blizzard and dropping them at the bottom of the mountain. Well, not the very bottom, but coincidentally, right next to the Pokémon Center. Speaking of the Pokémon Center, Ash and the gang were now more determined than ever at the Pokémon Center to search for Articuno after hearing about all the legends, thinking that it was truly fucking awesome. As they all prepare to leave the center and climb up Snowtop Mountain, Nurse Joy warns them that the climb would be very dangerous due to how high the mountain was and how cold it was for that matter. Also adding that the mountain was completely covered in slippery ice, which would make it very difficult to climb. Brock assures Joy that they would be totally fine, as Brock would do everything in his power to guide everyone to the top of the mountain, even though it was his first time ice climbing. Unfortunately, Brock wasn't able to impress Nurse Joy with these words like he wanted to, because once Nurse Joy heard that it was Brock's first time ice climbing, she stated that it would likely also be his last, since ice climbing was very hard to get used to. Brock was so hurt by Nurse Joy's comment that he literally froze up on the spot. Despite Nurse Joy's concerns, Ash and the gang decide to head outside to search for the Articuno anyway, as Todd really wanted to search for it. However, it then starts snowing, which turns into a blizzard, leading Officer Jenny to demand that everyone get back inside the Pokémon Center for safety. However, the source of the blizzard was then revealed to be Articuno, as Articuno flew up into the sky, flying right through Todd's camera lens, causing him to see it and try and take a picture of it. However, Articuno then got away before Todd could snap a photo, and the blizzard suddenly ended, since Articuno was now gone. This was when Articuno had just dropped Team Rocket off by the Pokémon Center, like I said earlier. So now that Team Rocket were down there, Ash and the gang noticed them, all caught up in a pile of snow. And Officer Jenny decides to take them into the Pokémon Center to warm them up as well, even though they were criminals, as they go inside the Pokémon Center, and Ash and the gang wrap Team Rocket in blankets, while Nurse Joy prepares soup for them. Meowth then decides to go to the coffee table that was in the Pokémon Center, and cuddle up in his blanket on it, just as he did in his dream. As Team Rocket shiver in the blankets, Misty then requests Brock to help her grab some jackets out of the Pokémon Center's storage closet, because they had promised Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny that if they were going to go out into the cold, they would at least wear a jacket. As Brock goes to help out Misty with this leaves Ash and Todd alone with Team Rocket. Since Ash and Todd only saw the Articuno, and they didn't actually see the Articuno drop Jesse and James down into the snow, they questioned them on how they arrived there in the first place, leading Team Rocket to reveal what had happened, detailing that they were stranded and alone on a block of ice, when suddenly, during the blizzard, a giant bird, unbeknownst to them as Articuno, flew up and rescued them, dropping them at the bottom of the mountain. Although clarifying that they didn't know how long it took them to get to the bottom of the mountain, as soon as they were picked up, they had passed out in fear. Upon hearing that something rescued Team Rocket from a blizzard, Todd realizes the similarities between Team Rocket's story and the story of the diary, and therefore determines that Articuno must have been the one to save Team Rocket. So he immediately dashes out of the center to find Articuno, with Ash following him. Right as they run out, Misty and Brock come back, having jackets for not just them, but also Ash and Todd, only to see that Ash and Todd had already left by this point, leading Brock to worriedly state that it would be dangerous for Ash and Todd to run around a snowy mountain without a jacket, and decides to chase after them, along with Misty, to deliver the jackets. Now that Ash and the gang had all recklessly run out, Team Rocket were now left alone. After hearing what Todd said, they came to the conclusion that Articuno must have saved them, so therefore Articuno was on the mountain, and Team Rocket instantly planned to try and capture the Articuno and bring it to Giovanni, since Articuno was a legendary Pokemon. Team Rocket then toss away their blankets and do their motto as they run outside and steal Officer Jenny's snowmobile to chase after Ash and the gang. Right as Team Rocket left, Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny had finished the soup they were preparing for Team Rocket, and came out to deliver it to them, only to find them gone. So they went outside, and Officer Jenny spotted that her snowmobile was gone, and there was tracks. Therefore, Officer Jenny comes to the conclusion that Team Rocket must have left after Ash and the gang. Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny then realized that it was beginning to snow again, indicating that another blizzard was on the way, becoming determined to save Ash and the gang and Team Rocket from the blizzard before it was too late. Meanwhile, Misty and Brock had managed to catch up to Ash and Todd and give them their jackets, so now the four of them trudge through the mountain, along with Jigglypuff, already having trouble with the thick ice and snow, but it only gets worse as the blizzard then arrives, practically stopping them from seeing anything. Despite this, Ash and Todd were pleased by the blizzard, as they realized that if there was a blizzard, then Articuno was likely nearby. Just then, a sudden chill blew through Ash and the gang. They knew that this wasn't because of the blizzard. It was a very abnormal chill. Just then, Pikachu and Jigglypuff both cried out, acting like they had sensed something. It was then revealed that what Jigglypuff and Pikachu sensed, as well as what caused the chill that just blew through Ash and the gang, was Articuno as it appeared, and the blizzard stopped, indicating that yes, Articuno could control the blizzard. Ash then goes up to the Articuno as calmly as possible in an attempt to friendly greet it, not watching where he was stepping, when Articuno suddenly screeches at Ash. This causes Ash to back up, wondering what had upset the Articuno, when he realizes that he had almost walked off a cliff since he wasn't watching where he was going, and Articuno had warned him, leading Todd to remark how Articuno had saved Ash just as it did Team Rocket and those people from the diary. Upon hearing the Articuno screech, Jigglypuff thought that it was trying to sing, and it didn't want to get shown up, so Jigglypuff tries to sing, leaving Ash to cover its mouth just before it did, as he didn't want Articuno to go to sleep, obviously. Todd then tries his best to take a picture of Articuno as he focuses his camera lens on it, but right before he can take the picture, Team Rocket then show up on the snowmobile and hit the Articuno. Ash and the gang are completely disgusted by Team Rocket's actions, as they had just attacked Articuno completely unprovoked, even after Articuno had saved them. When they remind Team Rocket of this, explaining how Articuno had saved both them and Team Rocket from dying, Team Rocket responded by doing their motto and claiming that they would die anyways since they would be killed by Giovanni if they didn't successfully steal Articuno. Jesse and James then send out their Arbok and Weezing to attack Articuno, with Arbok attacking with Poison Sting and Weezing using Sludge. Ash sends in Pikachu to intercept the Sludge and use Thunderbolt to destroy it. However, the Sludge almost makes contact first, forcing Pikachu to dodge it instead. Articuno then swats away the Poison Sting and goes in to use Ice Beam on Team Rocket. However, Jessie gets the idea to counter the Ice Beam by sending out her Wobbuffet and having it learn Mirror Coat and use it to block the attack. This obviously sends the Ice Beam back at Articuno, forcing it to dodge. However, when it dodges, the Ice Beam then hits the ice cliff behind it, which sends a whole bunch of rocks and other debris falling, and it lands on Articuno, sending it plummeting down. As for Team Rocket, even though Wobbuffet did manage to use Mirror Coat to send the attack flying back at Articuno, the Ice Beam still made contact with Wobbuffet a little bit, which was enough to send Team Rocket blasting off. Likely due to the fact that Wobbuffet had just learned Mirror Coat, so it wasn't super experienced with using it yet. Anyways, since Articuno was plummeting down, Ash and Todd run to save it, going to the edge of the cliff so that they could try and intercept it before it fell. However, the ground underneath them collapses, causing Ash and Todd to instead fall down with Articuno. Pikachu and Jigglypuff luckily didn't fall down with them, but they decide to go down anyways to try and save Ash and Todd somehow, as Jigglypuff proceeds to inhale some air, which causes Jigglypuff to blow up like a balloon, and it tells Pikachu to get on it as it floats down in its balloon-like state to the ground where Ash and Todd had landed. Ash and Todd had become knocked out due to the panic, but when they woke up, they realized that they weren't in fact dead from the fall, and that was because Articuno had managed to recover mid-fall and swoop in and save Ash and Todd before they fell. Meanwhile, Misty and Brock had run to the edge of the cliff that Ash and Todd had fell off of and shouted down below to ask if they were okay, but Ash and Todd didn't hear them, so they didn't respond. Suddenly, a blizzard then resumed, leading Misty to question how the blizzard had started, since Articuno was seemingly knocked down, not knowing that it had recovered from the fall. Brock suggests that Articuno, being hit by that ice and being sent plummeting down, could have made it extremely angry, causing it to unleash all of its power that it was holding back, stating that the Articuno may have been holding back its powers so that it could maintain its majestic nature. The blizzard then gets so bad that Team Rocket, who was still blasting off, had been dragged off course, and Misty and Brock decided to go back to the Pokémon Center to get help from Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny, hoping that they would be able to help them find where Ash and Todd had landed. Back with Ash and Todd, Articuno had now appeared in front of them, being fully recovered from its fall, and Ash and Todd took the opportunity to thank Articuno for saving them, as Jigglypuff then floated down with Pikachu, and Pikachu instantly jumped into Ash's arms, happy to see that he was okay. Just then, this happy reunion was interrupted, as Team Rocket came crashing down right beside Ash and Todd, now pretty injured from the fall. They complain about how the blizzard had blew their blast off course, and how they had failed to capture Articuno, when they spot Articuno right in front of them, and go to attack it once again with Arbok and Weezing. Ash and Todd go in to try and save the Articuno from the attack, as a form of thanks for Articuno saving them, but before they can save Articuno, Arbok and Weezing launch a Poison Sting and Sludge respectively, which Articuno counters with a Powder Snow, freezing the attacks before they can make contact. Arbok and Weezing then go in for yet another Poison Sting and Sludge, but this time, Articuno simply dodges them by using Agility. Articuno then tries to finish Team Rocket off with Ice Beam, leading Jessie to send out her Wobbuffet again, and Team Rocket hides behind it as Wobbuffet uses Mirror Coat. Once again, the Mirror Coat is enough to send the attack flying back at Articuno, but Articuno simply dodges, and Wobbuffet still wasn't able to fully protect itself from the force of the attack, so Wobbuffet gets knocked out in the process. With Team Rocket now pretty much defenseless without Wobbuffet, Articuno then finishes them off by using a Blizzard, which sends Team Rocket blasting off, along with Jigglypuff, who got picked up by the Blizzard. When Team Rocket blasted off, it caused a hole in the cavern where Ash and Todd were, allowing the sun to shine into the cavern once the blizzard ended. Todd then noticed how the sunlight was making Articuno's blue feathers shine. Todd remarks how this made Articuno just as beautiful and majestic as he thought it was, as he proceeds to take the picture that he's been wanting to take for so long. Right as Todd took the picture, Articuno then flew up and took its leave. Ash didn't believe that this was a coincidence, and believed that Articuno must have known that Todd wanted to take its picture, so it quickly let it before deciding to leave. Todd agreed with Ash's assumption, and just then, Officer Jenny, Brock, and Misty showed up. Officer Jenny was kind of ashamed that they had showed up when the blizzard already ended, but claimed the reasoning was that Team Rocket had stolen her snowmobile, so she had to go and find a new one first before they could journey on. Everyone then spots Articuno in the sky as it was flying away, as they admire its beauty and strength. Misty then looks around and worriedly questions where Jigglypuff was, as it was gone, leading Ash and Todd to reveal the fact that Jigglypuff had in fact blown away with Team Rocket. Everyone hoped for Jigglypuff's safety, as they all got on Officer Jenny's new snowmobile and returned to the center. When Ash and the gang arrived back at the Pokémon Center, they prepared to depart, but Todd reveals that he wasn't coming with them, and he was instead going to stay at the Pokémon Center, so he had a place to stay, while he stayed on the mountain to take pictures of a whole bunch of the other Pokémon on the mountain. Ash and Todd then shake hands, as Todd wishes Ash good luck in the Johto League, and Ash wishes him good luck with his photography. As Ash and the gang depart, saying their goodbyes to Todd, Nurse Joy, and Officer Jenny, we then see Todd's picture of Articuno hanging in the Pokémon Center. The episode then ends with one last scene from Team Rocket, who had blasted off into a cave on the mountain. It was nighttime, so Jesse and James were especially exhausted, as well as cold as fuck, so they decided to go to sleep to try and pass the time, leading Meowth to scratch them, forcing them to stay awake, warning them that they might die if they fell asleep in the cold. Jesse should have remembered this, as she fucking woke up Meowth from his dreams. Anyways, Team Rocket, not wanting to be scratched again, agrees to stay awake. But then, Jigglypuff shows up at the entrance of the cave with its microphone, leading Team Rocket to beg for Jigglypuff not to put them to sleep. However, Jigglypuff denies their request and sings its ass off, putting Team Rocket to sleep. Extremely easily, I might add, due to the cave's echoing, making Jigglypuff's song louder, and therefore more effective. Damn, hopefully Team Rocket didn't die while they were asleep.